So what do they say about the best plans and mice and men? The only weekend I would be able to work on the project bike is going to be today, and I put the bike outside and it was kind of spitting, and as soon as I shut the door, come and sat down, turned the video camera on, we've just been hit with a major storm. And I say major storm, not major storm in the same way as you see off the Florida coast, 80-mile-an-hour winds, but torrential rain. So I'm not going to keep the bike out there because it'll just come up and transfer all that water onto the garage floor, and I've got stuff on the garage floor. So I'm not going to be able to do what I wanted today. So this video is going to be just kept to the review of the panniers. Now, the pannier video that I'm going to put up now has got a caveat to it, and the caveat is if you can afford hard cases, and you can afford hard cases of the correct size that meet your requirements, I would personally go for them because they add a level of security, and there is an amount of faffing about, and I probably don't cover that in the video, but there is. If you are using fabric bags, canvas bags or material bags, whatever you're using, if they are not lockable and rigid cased bags, there is a level of insecurity about them. You have to take them off each and every time you park the bike up and go for a walk around town. So the caveat is, if I had £200 per bag each side, I would buy rigid bags, but I don't. Okay guys, as discussed, because it's pouring with rain outside and I can't move the bikes out, we're just going to talk a little bit about the luggage, the soft luggage options that I've gone for the Tiger. Now, I originally ended up with, or I originally purchased the frame and a set of 22 litre Audacious panniers, and the reason why I've done that is because they added the security. I wasn't quite aware of just how small 22 litres was, but I went for the additional security so you can lock these. With all hard panniers, they're lockable. So these are the monokey version, and the frame that I got supports all the monokey version, and if I want to spend £400 per box, I can always go out and buy a really expensive aluminium set of boxes for it. But I actually may end up doing that, but at this point I don't have the money, so I'm not going to do it. So what I've chosen to do, moving that slightly aside, is to invest in a couple of soft pannier options. Now, these are material, they are waterproof to an extent. To be honest, like most material things, you should put things in bags inside just in case you are going to get, there's nothing like wind to drive rain through the smallest crevice. So I'm going to be honest, while they advertise as completely waterproof, I wouldn't risk that. I'd put everything in a black bag before you go. But basically these both are 35 litre bags, and they expand to 45 litre bags, and I'll show you what that really entails anyway. So they are made by Autokicker. It's a German make. I've not seen them before, to be honest. I just found them on YouTube. They were reasonably priced at £66 for the pair, and in comparison to the hard luggage of the same size, they are a fraction of the price. So, which is why I've gone for these. The only thing I will say with soft panniers and frames, you've got to be very careful. And I'll show you why by just lifting those up, is you end up, if you've got a high exhaust like you do on the Tiger, you can end up burning the back of the fabric. I mean, it doesn't detach from it. All I'm going to do is just put some silver tape across there to reflect the heat, and that should resolve that issue. But beware, on a Tiger the high exhaust can damage panniers. Doesn't matter what kind of framework you have to support them, if they are fabric, that fabric is going to move and adjust throughout your journey and could potentially go through the bars of the frame and end up leaning against your exhaust when it's hot. So that's the only thing that I will say you would need to adjust once you've got these, if you've got the same setup as me. So these have just come back from a camping holiday, so they are still fairly full. There's lots of room still inside, but I'll show you basically what they're made, or how they are made. They both open with a wide cover, and they both have a pouch for things to go in there, such as mobile phones, stuff like that you can want to get out to, don't want to come in. Nice and easy, nice easy access, and it sits on top of the panniers, but it's not waterproof. Just remember, the waterproof is an issue. you know, you just need to take additional care if you're going to go and ride in the pissing down with rain. So, on with the review. Basically wide opening. So they both open in one fell swoop, like so. They don't open up and then you've got to ease across. They provide this strip, you lean it back and it ends up with a kind of a very wide opening, which allows you to work without constantly having to kind of open everything up. So that's a fairly good feature of the bike. As I said, you just come back from camping, so this is the ground sheet. It's not heavy, but it is quite bulky, and I have the tent pegs in there. So I should take those out and show you inside. Now the inside is currently expanded, so it's currently in the 45 litre kind of mode, if you wish. It does come with almost an identical piece, a strip of hard card in that shape. So once you put everything in, you can lay the strip across there that keeps all this free from tangling up your tent. You're ripping holes in your tent as you do the zip up, which is also quite a nice feature. It does come out, there are kind of expandable ones inside. I mean, it's just generally a pannier with a wide opening, which is quite nice. Now, the way this folds down, it also has, before I go, now the manufacturer will go on about these being reflective strips. To me, that's not really important, but what that does do is a nice little side pocket for maps. Which does come in useful. Onward and upward. So basically what they do, I shall get the right side, is they expand by zipping up compartments. If I turn them over, you then have this zip. And so this is the zip that kind of puts everything up. So you can both just feel it, as you can see, it kind of pulls it in. I'm not going to teach you to suck eggs here, it's a fairly easy mechanism, but you can basically do the entire zip all the way round, and that will basically take it from a 45 litre bag all the way down to a 35 litre bag. As I said, these are £66, so for the sake of 66 quid, I mean, you can't really go wrong. It's a fairly cheap investment, so it takes it down to a 35 litre bag, punches up inside, and to be honest, brute force and ignorance, I could probably still put the tent in there, let me put the tent pegs inside first, then the tent in there, and then what I'll do is I'll use a bit of brute force and ignorance to see if I can do that bag up, which tends to how I do things normally in life. So just tuck that in again. I don't want to force it or break it, that'll be just my luck on camera to do both. But yeah, I mean, even in the 35 litre one, that'll take a full tent, and that's a two-man tent in there, and the tent pegs, and there is still room down the sides. You've still got your thermos kit, your extra gas bowls. I find them to be fairly useful, and certainly when it comes to camping, it's a lot better than these. The only thing you don't get is obviously the additional security, so that does mean you have to remove these physically from the bike each time and take them inside the tent with you. Okay, so that's basically the bag, how it's all made up and how it compresses and how it decompresses. How does it attach to the bike itself? Okay, so basically each bag comes with 3 straps. They're tough Velcro straps, and they basically lie across the seat, and they basically attach to one another via those Velcro straps. You then also have 2 mount points, one at the top, you also have one at the bottom, and they use these type of cables, and you get probably about 12 of these. I'm not quite sure why you get 12, because there are only 2 mount points, for 2 on each side, 4, but they give you additional straps, and you basically just strap these through, go around the frame that holds the monokey one, and then that's how I attach it. The one tip that I will give is never attach them empty. Always wait until you have filled them and then attach them. Otherwise what you'll end up with, you'll tighten everything up and it'll be kind of skew-if, and you'll actually end up robbing yourself of a lot of room inside because it's in an odd shape. So wait until they are full and then put them on the bike, and you attach them via this mechanism. So I mean, it's not rocket science teaching Granny to suck eggs, but it's fairly simple. And that's locked, that's not going to come out. One at the top, one at the bottom. I would also put a bungee. What tends to happen, I don't know if you can see, if I can get an angle, what tends to happen as they wait, as they come over, you'll find they kind of do that to the wheel, so they kind of come in on the wheel, And one of the ways to stop that, especially if it's not loaded or if it's expanded to 45 and you've got heavy stuff out, kind of brings the entire the bottom of the bags in towards the wheel, which always makes me a little bit nervous. And the way to get around that is just get a bungee cord from one strap to another, and it kind of levers it out. It pushes it together, so you at the bottom of the bags lift away from the tyre. Obviously you've got to be very careful. Do not have any dangling cables around. Always make sure you tuck everything in. So that is a review of those. I will let you know. I said we've done about 3 or 4 camping trips with these, and we've never had issues with them. They've held up reasonably well, or they've held up well other than that, and I will address that separately. So over a 22 litre, I would thoroughly recommend these. There's no rips or tears. Everything seems to be in good order. The zip seems sturdy. So I think that is about all I was going to say on the luggage.
Okay guys, that's it for this episode. It's going to be a short one. Hopefully you take it easy, ride safe and enjoy the weather. I reckon we're going to have a couple of months extra this year. Take care. Bye bye.